Good morning and welcome to Locked In on Lockdown. My name's Alex Elaine.
I'm Jack Gerards.
And as always, we're going to bring you that daily heat with actionable tips, motivation and inspiration to help you get your mind right and your day started with a bang. So Jack, topic of today.
Today we are talking about the power of the mind. So just to give some context, for those of you who know me, you know that I've been going to the gym now for a little while. And the other day I hit day 1,000 of, 1,000 of consecutive training in the gym. And I set myself quite a big challenge to complete on the day. And that was to cycle 100,000 meters, to do 10,000 reps across 10 different exercises, and to lift a total of 100 tons. It was a long day. It took me 16 hours to complete the challenge in total. But I think today Alex and I kind of wanted to just explore how powerful the mind can actually be.
I kind of want to take a moment, Jack, because you kind of scanned through that, and to you this just feels like, you know, it's something you did, which is amazing. But let's just pause for one moment. 1,000 days consecutively in the gym, right? I can't even remember the numbers that you just stated in terms of miles cycled and weight lifted, but this is not normal, right? This is where we've spoken about previously being uncommon and being someone that strives to carve and create legacy. So what I want to spend this first section on, Jack, is mind conditioning. That how you conditioned your mind to get to a place where you were willing to take the challenge on in the first place. So, and then we'll kind of explore where your mind went as you did it. But how did you get there?
That's a great question. And I think it's so topical. The answer is not going to be what people would expect. It's not from me, you know, having big visions of, I mean, it does stem from that, of having visions of myself being a better person, but it stems from hardship, man. For anyone who's suffering in this particular circumstance right now with the coronavirus, it was me going through the experiences that I went through in the past and leveraging my pain, leveraging my suffering, leveraging my adversity, leveraging my hardship and utilizing it to my benefit. If I'm going to suffer as a person, I'm going to suffer with purpose. Like, life does not get to bully, push or beat me around. Like, it's not going to happen. So when I was going through difficulty, I calloused my mind to the extent where it was like, if I'm going, like I say often, that my greatest strength is weakness. So anytime I find myself in a difficult position, that is when I'm going to be the best version of myself, because I will refuse to quit. But to be a lot more specific about that particular day, the way that I mentally train for an event like that is, I imagine, as I said in a previous video, I imagine the worst case possible scenario, and then I imagine myself just continuing to push through it. And when I ran a marathon in 2018, and I did one 6-mile run to prepare for that, and the rest of the training that I did was mental. And the way that I trained for it mentally was, I would imagine myself with a bone sticking out of my leg, me bleeding, me literally dragging myself across the finish line. But I would, regardless of the situation, unless I was dead, I was going to finish. And I think that, I mean, it's quite extreme, but that's the way that I prepare myself for extreme circumstances, is with extreme energy, I guess.
Just want to pick up on something there, Jack. You know, for everyone listening, I think this is where some people are going to be inspired and think, wow, I can do this. And then there's going to be a subsection of people that are going to, again, recategorize you as being that uncommon person. And you're just built differently. You've got a mindset, you know, you've touched on the fact that, you know, I just wouldn't quit. And you visualize yourself in this almost this painful situation. To those people that are thinking about exiting at this point because they just bracket you differently, what do you say to them?
Great question again, man. All right, I think this is a good time to compare. Let's say, for example, me going up against David Goggins, right? Would I be able to do what David Goggins can do? To be able to run 100 miles without stopping. It's possible. It is possible, but it would also be extremely difficult. I don't know mentally if I'm quite there yet. What I mean to say is there's no point in comparing yourself to me. You need to compare yourself to yourself, right? So you need to visualize what is the best version of you that you can be and reach for it. That's what I was doing on day 1000. Is I was looking at what is the best version of me that I could possibly be, and I'm going to reach that and even try and exceed that a little bit. So for you, you need to understand what are your parameters, set the goal high, set the goal really high. You need to be uncomfortable and then reach for that. It's not about setting yourself the same goal that I set for myself, because it's not going to work. You need to make that incremental, marginal gain, as we often speak to, over time, and you will rewire your minds to just become relentless.
Fascinating. So there was one point in your life, Jack, because I kind of want to jump into you in that moment when I joined. I believe you were doing hip thrust, and I could hear a bit of pain with each rep at that point, So I just want to understand, when you were in that moment and you were clearly midway through or 60% of the way through, where was your mind then, and how did you get from 60% to end goal when it all seemed, hard, right?
It's my subconscious. I've trained myself to the point now where I can trust my subconscious to a large extent to work in my best interests. I do need to still have my conscious mind watching over my subconscious to know that it's not going to run away with it. But for the majority of that period of time, I was just completely zoned out. I was not there in the day. It was just the backup generator, wherever it is, that was running in the background. It knew what it needed to do, and I knew what the goal was, and I knew that the only way to get there was to get there. Like, there's no shortcuts. There was nothing that I could take. It's just showing up and bleeding. Like, that's all you can do, is put in the effort, put in the work. And this is one thing that I love to say to people, and I really hope that they grasp it, because it's so true in this life. If you can understand this as a principle, you will never fail again in your entire life. If you do not quit, you will never, ever lose in life. If you do not quit, you are destined to win. You can't be beaten if you refuse to quit. It doesn't mean that you won't fail. It doesn't mean that you won't face hardship. But if you're always willing to overcome and to keep trying and to keep pushing, then what can life do to you? Nothing. You become formidable. And that's how my subconscious is wired. It's just, my sister asked me, what is your strategy for the day? I told her, listen, my strategy is simple. I just won't quit. And that's it. That is as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Just don't quit.
Very powerful. Very powerful. Now that you're off the back of this, Jack, what have you learned about yourself?
What I've learned is I need to give myself a little bit more credit. I learned, because the challenge was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought as I said to Alex before, I want this challenge to break me. And I didn't even get close to the point where I was going to be broken. So I think I can be comfortable now in the fact that my mindset is fairly well established. I still need to pay the rent every single day to keep it up. But the main takeaway I took from it really is that I need to reach significantly higher. I need to try harder. I need to work more because I have a lot of untapped potential that I haven't even gotten into as of yet.
Well, Jack, I want to thank you for being the person that's been so open and transparent in sharing what is, it's just a remarkable story, and for putting yourself in a position where you can carve out legacy that I think will inspire so many people. You did this for charity. You raised an unbelievable amount of money. I'm most definitely proud of you, and I think there's so many people looking to you as a real inspiration. So thank you for being that person and for standing out as someone who's uncommon. On that note, we're going to round things off, but please check out Jack's story directly on his page. As I say, it's truly phenomenal. Stay locked in.
See you next time. Take care.